Today, we'll have Savannah's adult daughter mom trip. That's coming up on this episode 384 of WW Prep to Go. Hello and welcome to WW Prep to Go. We talk strategy and ideas for people planning their Disney World trips. I am your host, Shannon Albert from WDWPrepSchool.com. Thank you for being here for episode 384. Today is another trip report. I actually talked to Savannah before my own recent trip. And before that, I actually met her at a patron meetup that we had in Nashville. So it was really fun to meet her in person and then get to talk to her about her trip. If I sound a little raspy, it's because we had so many late nights during our trip and then lots of recording and things to do. So my voice is a little bit tired, but we're going to get through it. Today's trip report with Savannah is an adult, and as is her mother, obviously. And I just love hearing all the different trip reports with different dynamics. Friend groups, solo trips, big families, adults, children with their parents. I love it because every single one presents some new opportunities, challenges, dynamics. It changes it up. So I love it. And in Savannah's case, she does all kinds of different trips. This one just happened to be with her mom, but she does trips with her family and friends and all different things. So she's a pro at navigating all the different dynamics herself. I want to make sure to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you're taking some time, whether you're spending it with family and friends or just on your own, need some downtime. And maybe this trip report will help. So without any further ado, here are my chats with Savannah. Welcome to the podcast, Savannah.
Hi, Shannon. Thanks for having me.
We're talking on Friday, October 27th. I understand you are going to Disney World.
Yes, we are leaving October 29th, which is Sunday.
When are you staying till?
November 3rd. So Friday, November 3rd.
All right. And I met you at a recent patron meetup in Nashville. Yes. Are you flying to Disney World from Nashville?
Yes. We have a 7:10 a.m. flight out of Nashville on the 29th. Yes.
Okay. And who is we?
It is me and my mom.
Okay. You and your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not your first trip? It's not your mom's first trip?
No.
Okay.
Sunday is actually her birthday. We did a similar trip to this 2 years ago for her birthday and thought it was a good time to go back.
So your mom obviously likes it if it's something she wants to do for her birthday.
Yeah, for sure. She grew up in Central Florida, so this is not new to her at all, but it's like she loves all the nostalgic things, so it's fun to see it through somebody else's eyes.
That is very fun. I like that we have all different kinds of trips.
Yeah, they're fun too.
It used to be just families, and now it's, you know what? We can mix it up. You guys are family, but it's not just like parents
yes,
and kids.
It's not my, nuclear family.
It's not just parents with small children.
Yes.
You're a grown-up going with your mom. And where are you and your mom staying?
We are staying at Pop Century.
Mm-hmm.
We're really looking forward to food and wine. And so we wanted easy access to Epcot. And normally when I go with my family, we always stay at Pop. It's just the price is right. And it has the most amenities for that right price. So we enjoy it there.
The best bang for the buck.
Yep. I agree.
That is for sure. Okay. So we know you told us like a morning flight from Nashville on October 29th. How are you guys getting from the airport to Pop Century?
We're just going to Uber or Lyft. It evens out the same price wise as Mears with two people. And so we just figured that would be quicker. And so, yeah, we don't have to deal with the buses and things like that. It's easier that way.
Yeah. Okay. So after you're going to have plenty of day ahead of you on October 29th. So after you get to Pop, what's your plan?
Okay. So we definitely are going to go to Disney Springs that afternoon. We don't have any park plans that day. And that is Mom's birthday. So we have two options. I've given her the two options. She told me that I just needed to pick. So they're still up in the air, which they probably will be until Sunday morning when I decide. But we have a 3:15 boathouse reservation. That is a potential. We went there last time and loved it. or we have a 550 Narcoossee's. I've not been to Narcoossee's, but I've only heard good things. And so I'm excited to see if that's the way that it pans out. But if not, maybe if we do the boathouse, we'll do a monorail crawl after, or just do grown-up things. Normally I go with my husband and stepdaughter, and we can't do all the grown-up things that we can do as adults. So
great.
Kind of up in the air. And then hopefully an early-ish bedtime, since we were probably up at 4:30 to get to the airport on time.
Okay. So that's a good first day, and that's your mom's actual birthday. What is the next day, October 30th?
We have a park pass at Animal Kingdom. I had a hard time with all of the parties that were going on because I think we're there 5 days and there are 3 or 4 parties. And so I was having a hard time deciding, do I go on a party day? Do I not go to Magic Kingdom specifically? But we're going to Animal Kingdom that day. It's a party day. Yes, it is a party day. But anyways, we're going to do a quick breakfast at Joffrey's or Starbucks. Our top priorities are Flight of Passage, the safari, and then it's a long name, but it's the animal encounters, the winged encounters at the Tree of Life. We caught that by accident last time, and my mom talks about it all the time. It was her favorite thing of all that we did, and we have to see it again. And we're going to make that a priority. Birds terrify me, but it'll be fun. I figured Satuli Canteen for lunch. I really like their options. And then I figured we'd probably take a midday break. I love a midday break.
Okay. I love how people have various priorities, and yours is the macaws that fly over.
We caught it by accident last time on our way out, and I was like, we have to do that again.
I am on the website and they have 6 showings. So I
think we're good.
15 of the hour, 9:15, 10:15, 11:15.
Yeah. So
etc. And then it looks like they take a lunch break.
They have to make it over to Feathered Friends in Flight. I think they make an appearance there sometimes. So you got to catch them while you can.
That is hilarious. Okay. So you have your priorities at Animal Kingdom, and including the birds, and you want a midday break as well.
Yes. And then we have a Fantasmic dinner package at 50s Prime Time in Hollywood Studios at 5:30. I saw Fantasmic for the first time in January, and 5 minutes in, I looked over to my husband and I was like, this has changed my life. Mom has never seen it. She has no idea what she's in for. And so I was like, we have to have that Fantasmic dinner package to get the premium viewing, not have to wait. And Fantasmic that night is at 8:30. So we'll probably, go ahead.
I don't know how old your mom is, but 50s Prime Time is a hit amongst people of a certain age.
I was nervous about going there. We went on our last trip. My husband and I was nervous because I was like, what are they going to do? That's not my style at all. I don't want the attention. And we had the best time. We had a really good server too, so that went into it. But I think she'll really like it food-wise, and it'll be fun for her to see all the different stuff.
Yeah, it's fun and everything for people of all ages, but of a certain age, it looks so much like their childhood homes.
Yeah.
It can be very nostalgic.
I remember walking in the first time, I was like, this looks like my grandma's house.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what I remember of it. So I think she'll really enjoy it.
Yeah.
We'll probably do a couple of rides there. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is one of my favorites. And then just see where the night takes us.
Did you say it's been 2 years since your mom's been there?
Yes.
Okay, so there'll be a little bit of new stuff.
Yeah. Okay, and then the next day is Halloween. Yes, this is a full Epcot day for us. We are avoiding Magic Kingdom at all costs on this day. But a full Epcot day, food and wine is definitely the priority. We have a list on my phone of like all the things that we've looked up of what we wanted to try so that we can check it off as we go. I do have an Ale and Compass breakfast at 8:30. I've never been there, but I usually like to have a breakfast on the boardwalk before I go to Epcot just to fill you up before snacking. And their breakfast buffet is only $23. So I figured that was a good deal.
That seems like a pretty good deal for any buffet.
Yeah, I thought so too. Mom has never been on Cosmic Rewind. I'm a little nervous about that, but I think she'll like the music. If she even hates the coaster, I think it'll be a one and done, but fun for her. And then Remy and Soarin' are our top priorities there. I don't know if we'll take a midday break, probably depending on if we get to that Ellen Compass or how we start the day. And then I don't know. We really liked La Cava last time. I went to Abracadabra a couple years ago and really liked it. I think she would think that was fun. So just seeing what happens there. I'll be interested to see what we end up doing that night.
Okay.
And then Wednesday, November 1st, we have a Magic Kingdom Park Pass. That is a party day, but we don't have any plans that morning. We might do breakfast at the park. I'd really like to see Festival of Fantasy, but we have a lunch at 1:50 at Homecoming. My aunt lives a couple hours away and we haven't seen her in 4 years. And so she was going to drive over for the day. And so I felt like that was like a neutral place and she can get home early too. We're going to go over to Disney Springs in the afternoon and kind of hang out with her and have lunch. And then I don't know. I don't know if we'll go back to Epcot or Animal Kingdom. I don't know what we'll do that night. It's up in the air that day. That's the priority, is lunch at 1:50 at Homecoming.
How do you expect to get there from Magic Kingdom?
I am probably going to take the monorail to the Contemporary or walk over and take the bus.
Good thought. I just didn't want you to get stuck and wondering where the Disney Springs bus was.
No. So yeah, that day will be fun. I'm excited to see her. And Mom is really excited about that too. And then Thursday, November 2nd is our last park day. It's a full Magic Kingdom day. I am anticipating a little bit Christmas decor since the party was the day before. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be up. I've seen a couple things in Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom that are up already. And so I'll be interested to see if they transform and what they transform at Magic Kingdom. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, because you're there one day and it's Halloween. You go back the next day. It's Christmas. Yeah, they often do. So fun. They do often do that.
Yeah. And then we have a Steakhouse 71 breakfast at 8:40 that morning. We ate there last time and it's so good. It's such a good breakfast spot. And then just the classics are the priority. I don't know about Tron. I think I'm going to let her look at it the day before and see if that's something that she's interested in. She said she was up for anything, but I don't really think that's true. But
has she had issues with rides in the past?
No. And she talks about like when she was in high school going to Disney and like standing in line at Space Mountain for 2 hours, which I think is so funny, with her brothers. And she's like, I used to ride Space Mountain all the time. And I'm like, that was 40 years ago. I don't know. That it's different. I don't even like riding Space Mountain. I would not want her on it now. But I don't know if she knows what she's getting into with some of these more intense coasters.
On the Golden Bachelor last night, they went to an amusement park and they rode all the rides. And I was like, good for them. They can they're all doing it still.
I know. I love it. Yeah, we'll see about Tron. It's up in the air. And then Pirates, Haunted Mansion, things like that. I would like to get maybe a dinner reservation that night in the park. I'm not really sure. I think it depends on what we get done during the day. And then we definitely want to see Happily Ever After at 8:00. And then Magic Kingdom closes at 10:00 that night. So we'll have some time there, especially if we do it the whole day. I don't anticipate that, but I would like to start and end the day in Magic Kingdom. The in-between is up in the air. And then our last day, Friday, November 3rd, we are flying out at 6:40 p.m. So we'll just wake up leisurely and pack, maybe have breakfast on the boardwalk, and then probably go to Disney Springs or just monorail hop or resort hop or see what we get into. I like leaving. I like having plans, but I like leaving things to be like exciting and unexpected too. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. It's the best of both worlds to have some structure, but also some space to do whatever.
Yeah.
And it's easier with the two adults.
Yes. It's a lot easier to pivot, I think, and which I really like. I love a plan, but I'm on the app all day, every day, looking for new. I'm like, is that the reservation I want, or do I want something else? It'll probably all be different, but we'll see.
It's fine. It's a hobby.
It is. It's fun. It's fun to piece it together and see what's going to happen. I love it.
I usually ask people why they chose these particular dates. It's safe to say these dates are because of your mom's birthday.
Yes. So last time we went and we ended on her birthday. And this year I wanted to see the transformation to Christmas. I did not know at the time that there would be a party on November 1st.
Mhm.
So I expected 2 days of Christmas, but I'll take the one. I just would love to see how it changes. I think that's so interesting. And hopefully it'll be a little bit cooler. I don't think so, based on the weather forecast that I'm seeing. 87 on Monday. And I'm like, okay. It's not 87 in Nashville. So
Yes, it's quite mild in Nashville right now. It feels like fall.
yeah, it does some days. And I think when we leave next week, it's going to be 50s. And I'm like, ooh, it's not going to be that in Orlando.
Yeah, it looks like the extended forecast in Orlando dips down a bit into the 70s, but it may not be during your trip. But you know what? The mornings and evenings will definitely be amazing. And
Yeah.
mid 80s, not the worst.
Listen, I've done 100 in July. Mid 80s is not, that is a treat at Disney World.
Yes.
Especially in the middle of the day. So I'm looking forward to it.
That sounds like it'll be fun. All right. So are you going to make any notes on reservations? That is your mom's birthday.
I did it on our hotel reservation. And then I think especially on that day, either Narcoossee's or the Boathouse put on there and just see if they can do anything special or what they do for that. I don't think they do a lot anymore.
They don't. And that's why I was curious. If you do note it, will they do anything? Because it doesn't happen as much as it used to.
I know. Last time when she wore her button in the park, she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't like the attention. I would love it. But I was like, you have to wear your button because at least people are saying happy. You might not get a cupcake or whatever, but at least somebody's acknowledging it. I think that's so fun. I love that everybody in the park stops you to do it. But I think it's less and less at the resort and at restaurants. It's interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's random, but we'll see what happens when you get back and let us know how it goes for her birthday.
Yeah, I'm excited. I made a note. I have an annual pass, so that's the way that it is. Mom bought a 4-day park hopper ticket to do that. And then she paid for the hotel. And with the dining plan coming, I've never been to Disney World on the dining plan. We started going in 2020 as a family, or once in a lifetime trip, and here we are. But it's foreign to me, the dining plan is, but budgeting wise, I try to budget like we're going on the dining plan. A table service dining plan, I think, is $95 now. I don't think it has always been that expensive. Mm-hmm. That's crazy to me. And I think with a lot of talk of it coming back and if it's worth it or not, I buy gift cards. Mm-hmm. I go to Sam's and I bought $1,000 worth of gift cards, and that's our food, $100 per person per day for 5 days. That's how I've always done it ever since we started going. And it's always worked for us. We've never spent it all. We always use it the last day on souvenirs or whatever. But I'll be interested to see at the end of it how that works, because I don't know if the dining plan is always worth it for everyone. And
it's not worth it
less and less.
Mm-mm. It used to be very easy to justify back in the day. It included tips, it included 3 courses, it included a lot of stuff, and it was way less expensive.
Yeah.
So now they know people like it for the convenience. Yes. So they just charge more. It's not really financially worth it. What you're doing is probably more financially worth it. But for some people, it's the mental.
I think so too. And that is a way that we feel like it is all inclusive. We always buy gift cards. Every time 2 days before, a week before, we're going to Sam's and buying the gift cards so that we don't come home and have this crazy credit card bill because it adds up. It adds up really quickly, especially when you're not being careful. And so it does feel all inclusive. I just have this, I've already paid for it. I have a gift card and just use it until it's gone. And I don't know. I think that's a good way to do it and not be locked in.
So your mom paid for the hotel and her 4-day ticket, and you have the gift cards. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. So it evened out. We booked a standard pool view. That was the only thing that was available on an AP discount. And I think for the 5 nights, it was $903 or something crazy like that. It was not a ton. And so it evened itself out with that. And then I was like, I'll just be in charge of everything else because I don't want to have to deal with splitting and all that crazy stuff. So I was like, I will have the spending money. You can just pay for the hotel and your stuff. And my annual pass is the long paid for. Girl math, it's free.
I was going to say there's a lot of Disney/girl math going on here, and I love it.
Yeah.
Mickey math is what it's been called for a long time.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, we bought ours in December last year. That money's been gone for 10 months. It's free at this point. Our first trip in January, it felt free. So
yes, you were talking about coming home to a big credit card bill. And I was thinking, when you pay for things with a Magic Band, it doesn't count.
It doesn't feel the same. It just comes off in a different way, right? So
that's the danger of Magic Bands. It's just too easy.
I agree. Yeah. Thankfully, that's not a thing for us anymore since we started this gift card thing. And it feels a lot more manageable. We can rein ourselves in and not be like, oh, that's $25. Great. Let's scan it. And then it never happens again.
I get it.
Yeah. I just wanted to add that in with the dining plan coming back. I don't know. I don't foresee us ever using that just because my stepdaughter's 11. She's not drinking at dinner. And really, neither am I or my husband if we're on a trip like that. And so it's hard to make that $95 worth $95. I'd much rather have $100 in cash or $100 per day on a gift card and kind of deal with it afterwards.
Yeah, I am excited at the chance to walk people through the dining plan when it comes back because it's something we have a lot of experience with, and people that are newer in the last few years do not. But for most people, it is not going to be financially worth it. Yeah. Your way is a good way and gives a similar effect, but without the per day price. So anyway, all right. It's been good to talk to you about this, and I'll talk to you when you get back to see how it went.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
Welcome back from your trip, Savannah.
Thanks, Shannon. Glad to be home.
It is Tuesday, November 7th. You've been home for a few days. How did your trip go?
It was good. We had really good weather. We had a fun time. Just good to spend some time together.
All right. Can't wait to get into the details of it. You told us that you were flying from Nashville at 10 a.m. on the 29th and getting into Orlando to take a ride to Pop Century.
Yes. So we got up, we left the house at 4:45. It was an early birthday morning for my mom, but I just kept telling her, like, you just get to spend the whole day with me. Aren't you excited? But we got to the airport quick and easy. I have TSA pre-check and I did not go through TSA pre-check. I was trying to be really good and it was hard. I was like they sniff you with drug dogs in Nashville now, apparently. And I was like, they don't do this on the other side. So that was different, but it was fine. We didn't have any line and security, all those things. The longest line all week that we waited in was the Starbucks line, about 5:30. We didn't almost miss our, but we were probably within 20 minutes of our flight. And that is not my style at all. I like to be at the gate like an hour before, but it was good. Our flight departed a couple minutes early and there were 55 open seats. I was shocked. I've not been on a flight with one open seat in years. And so they were like, no middle seats, I was shocked. I was pleasantly shocked, but I could not believe that even a Sunday flight to Orlando, it's always packed. So that was really nice. We got our room text upon landing, which was really nice. We got building 3 in the 50 section on the first floor. And we were that building and where our room was right next to the preferred section. It was half a block away. And so we were really close to the Skyliner, really close to Classic Hall, I think is what they call it.
And so that
building. Was really nice.
I would say main building because I can't remember all their names.
That one was really nice. We were really happy with that. And it was a standard pool view. And you don't get a pool view but it was steps from the pool. It was really nice. When I was in the Uber, I changed our boathouse reservation to 1:30 instead of, I think it was at 3:15
is what you told us before.
Yes. We were really hungry and we were ready to go at that point. So I changed it to 1:30 when we were in the Uber and canceled the Narcoossee's ones the day before. When we got to our room, I had an issue with, I use Magic Mobile 90% of the time because I use it on my watch, I use it on my phone, and it would not work, of course. And I've never had it not work. So I opened my suitcase on the lawn when digging out my Magic Band, and then it didn't work either. I was like, come on. And so we walked to the main building and they were like, we just have to reconfigure it. Is this a new one? And I'm like, no, this is 5 years old. Come on. But it worked out. They reconfigured hers too. I don't know if it disconnected. I've never had that happen before. I was confused, but they fixed it. And then we were in the room at 11:20. So we landed 10, 10, 15-ish. And so an hour wasn't bad. We headed to Disney Springs right after. We didn't even unpack or anything. And then we shopped around Disney Springs. We got to the boathouse at 1 for our 1:30 reservation and they sat us right away. When the manager sat us she took us to our table and she was asking what we were doing and what we were celebrating. And I told her it was Mom's birthday and that we were there the rest of the week. We had just gotten there and she actually gave us her card to if we wanted to come back. I thought that was really nice. She was like, just email me if you want to come back. She didn't have to do that, but we didn't, but it was nice of her. We had oysters and calamari and the filet sliders and a couple drinks. We were really hungry and it was really good. We stayed about an hour and a half there. It was really nice. And then we were sitting right on the water and Mom was like, where does that boat go? And I was like, oh, it goes to a couple of the resorts. And she was like, can we go to one? Sure. So we took the boat to French Quarter to have beignets. That was really nice. And we were done with Disney Springs. It was really warm that day and we were just like over it, and very crowded since it was a Sunday. We got to French Quarter and had cafe au lait and the cookies and cream beignets. They were leaving like 2 days later. So I was really excited to get that. My parents actually lived in New Orleans for a while when I was younger. And so Mom was so excited about having beignets and cafe au lait. She was telling me all these different stories of when she would take me to get them when I was younger. It was fun. And then we took the bus to Hollywood Studios from French Quarter and Skyline to Pop. So we did all the modes of transportation on Sunday. It was really fun though. I love getting different places and especially the boat to French Quarter. Not every resort has that. So that was really nice. We went back to the hotel. It was probably like 4 o'clock when we got back, maybe 5. And I fell asleep for probably 2 hours. We were so tired and we unpacked and went to the little grocery area at Pop and got some waters and a bottle of wine and went to bed. I woke up at 6:30 and I was like, I have to stay awake. I will not sleep tonight and I have to get up early tomorrow. So that was fun. We had a really good first day and I think she had a good birthday. So
good. That sounds like a really good way to start the trip. The next day was early because you were going to Animal Kingdom.
Yes. Monday, October 30th, I set my alarm every morning for 6:45 to buy Genie Plus and make sure I was awake enough to figure out lightning lanes and things like that. So I bought Genie Plus. I bought the Park Hopper one because I knew we would be going to 2 different parks that day. That was a tough pill to swallow.
It's pricey, huh?
That was our priciest day. It was $27. And I was like, the price of Hollywood Studios isn't even that much, but whatever. And I got a lightning lane for the safari from 8:30 to 9:30 and then Flight of Passage from 10:20 to 11:20. We were on the bus at 8:20 and we were at the Tap Styles at Animal Kingdom by 8:40. We had breakfast at Over in Africa. Mom had a cream cheese and guava Danish, and I had a chocolate twist. I think that's really a tiger tail, but they didn't call it that. It was really good, though. We did Kilimanjaro Safari at 9:05. We waited probably 5 minutes. It had a 50-minute standby at that point. We got an immediate return time for Everest. So the day before, when we were unpacking and doing all the things, we had turned on, I think it's Inside Disney maybe, and they go through all the parks and the Animal Kingdom one came up and Everest was on there. She was like, that looks like fun. We've not done that before. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, it's pretty intense. I said, but if you can do that one, you can do any of them. And she was like, okay, like, does it go upside down? I was like, no. So we did that one. I've never ridden with someone who didn't know what was going to happen. And so when we got to the top and she was like, oh, this is different. And then I was so exciting because I was like, that was more fun than riding it, was seeing her reaction to it. She screamed bloody murder the whole time. It was amazing. But she got off and she was like, that was scary, but it was really fun. And because she kept asking me, I guess her only point of reference was Space Mountain.
Mm.
And she was like, is it like Space Mountain? I was like, not really. I would not compare it to that. And then when it was dark, she was like, it is like Space Mountain. I was like, okay, I guess that's true, but I didn't really think of it like that.
It's just
So
dark for a little
surprise,
bit.
surprise, it's just like Space Mountain.
What
So
you
we
just described with your mom is one of the reasons I like the single rider line on that, because sometimes you end up next to someone who's never been on it before. So whenever I do that, I'm always like, have you ever been on it? Because I like to watch their face.
because when we got off, I was like, what did you expect? Because I think that she just thought that, something else was going to happen. She had no idea it was going to go backwards. And she was like, I don't know what I thought was going to happen. I just thought that was like a cute thing that they had done to the track. And I was like, okay, but it went backwards and she loved it. So
Great.
we got off and she was like wobbly, but that was fine. We got a drink after that at the little bar that's right next to. She's, I think I need a cocktail now. I'm like, okay, 10 o'clock, that's fine. We got our drink and browsed around and walked over to the Tree of Life because we were not going to miss the 10:15 bird show. Let me tell you. I was like, great, give me a sip of that cocktail before these birds come for me. And I also didn't realize that bird show's like 2 minutes long. It's like they're there and then they're not. But they said that the birds come from half a mile away, which I think is really cool, but it's still really scary. They were swooping, they were everywhere, which I expected, but also in reality, they're huge birds too. But she loved it. She was like, okay, we can leave now. I'm like, no, not yet. I had booked Navi River Journey after we got off of Everest for 11:15. We tapped in at 11. No.
Flight of Passage first?
Flight of Passage, yes. I was trying to see. I had a 10:20. Okay, so yes. So I tapped in for Flight of Passage at 10:25. It had a 105-minute wait at that point. We probably waited 15 minutes. It wasn't bad. They were a little bit backed up, but not bad. We went to Satuli at 11 before our Navi River Journey Lightning Lane. It was really good. We had the cheeseburger pods and a beef bowl. We just shared them. I really like it there, and I think Connections is the only other place that I can think of it where you get your own drink and you're not just handed this giant fountain drink with no lid on it, but it's nice. You can get a refill and things like that. We went to Navi River Journey at 11:30. Its standby at the time was 50 minutes. And then we left Animal Kingdom at 12. After we did Navi, I got a lightning lane for Slinky Dog at 6:25 because I knew we were going to go over there later to Hollywood Studios. When we got back to Pop Century, we decided to go to the pool instead of taking a nap, which was really nice. We went over to the quiet pool, which was near our room. It's shaped like a bowling pin. I don't know if it has a name, but the 50s pool. And then we walked over to the main pool and got a Pina Colada from the pool bar, and they were playing games. And it was fun to see all the kids playing the games and stuff. It was a lot busier over there, obviously, but it was nice. And then we got up, got changed, went to Hollywood Studios around 2:30. We just browsed in the shops, just walked slowly in and around. We ended up doing Toy Story Mania at 3:10 with a lightning lane. I feel like that lightning lane is always really backed up. I don't know if it's how they load or what, but we waited 15 minutes isn't bad in the lightning lane, especially when the standby is 45. But that one I always feel like is a lot longer. And then we did a lightning lane for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I guess I had changed our Slinky Dog from 6:25 to 4 because I was trying to get it all right there because I didn't want to have to walk back. So I guess I had changed it.
How many of these things are new to your mom? Was this her first time in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway?
No, we did that one last time, but she didn't remember it because we had only done, if any of them, once. And she was like, oh, I remember this. And then we were in the pre-show room and she's like, what are we doing in here? And like, just watch. It's going to be so fun.
It's new every time. It's new every time.
It's new every time. I was like, we just have to come back all the time. And all the old stuff is new. But so we did Slinky, which last time, the reason I was worried about the roller coasters this time is because last year or 2 years ago, we did Slinky and she was terrified of it. And I don't know if I think it is because you can see the track It's not in Big Thunder Mountain and all these other ones. They're just you're just in the landscape of the ride. And that one's just out in the open. And so I asked her when we got off, I was like, is it scarier than Everest? And she was like, it's just different.
Scarier than Everest.
I was like, this is a kiddie. There's a 3-year-old on
yes.
here.
Everest is pretty intense.
That's what I said. I was like, this is the most intense one here, except for Rock and Roller Coaster. But anyways, and she was like, it's just said it's different. Okay. We did the 4:30 Frozen show. We had not done that last time. I don't think I had ever done it when she and I went last time, and she loved it. I wasn't a kid when Frozen came out, and she knew the songs, or Let It Go at least. And so she was like, that was fun. And all the narrators, I love the narrators. I think they're so funny. So we did that before our 50s primetime reservation. That was really good. It was at 5:30. She loved the theming, looking at all the different decor. We had onion rings and fried chicken in the sampler, and then we shared the apple strudel. There was a family next to us, and they had a different waitress than us, and it's either like cousin or aunt or whatever, and the one next to us was long lost sister. That's what she kept saying. And the little girl, she was probably 6 or 7, she asked her for her autograph when they were leaving, and I thought that was just the sweet. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I would never think, oh, we should ask our waitress for her autograph. She was like, I think the waitress had never gotten that either. She was so like, it was unexpected for her.
That's fun. Did she sign it long lost sister?
I think she did. And I was like, that's adorable. That was fun. We browsed the shops from there until Fantasmic. I've only done the dinner package once there, and we didn't wait in line. We just went up with our tickets and went in. And so around 7:20, which it was supposed to start at 8, we got in line. The line was at the Joffrey's at Tower of Terror. Because when we were walking down Sunset, the standby line was all the way out Sunset. And I was like, oh, thank goodness we have a dinner package. We ain't standing in the line. I could not believe it. I was like, something is wrong here. And they finally got us moving a couple minutes later, and they told us that there was probably going to be a 15-minute delay. So I don't know if I guess they were having issues and then not seating people because of it. But we finally got seated at 7:40, and then it started 15 minutes late. But she loved it. That one's always surprising to me. I always forget it's so long that you forget what happens, but it is my favorite show. I love that one. And it's nice to be able to sit down on the water and things like that. That was that. We got right out at 9:00 and walked on the Skyliner. There was no wait yet. So that was really nice.
That's surprising. There wasn't a wait.
I know. I was like expecting at least some people to be. There was nothing. I don't even think they put us in there with somebody yet. It was not crowded. So that was nice. Yeah, we had a good Monday. I really liked that day.
The next day was Halloween, and you were headed to Epcot.
Yes. So I ended up canceling that Ale and Compass breakfast reservation. We were tired after that day. We just wanted an easier morning. We left Pop around 9:00. We stopped at the Joffrey's at Caribbean Beach before transferring. I had gotten a Lightning Lane for Remy at 10, and then Guardians. I can't remember. And then I also had gotten a virtual queue for Guardians, but we did not end up using the virtual queue.
Had your mom been on Guardians before?
No.
Okay.
So I was a little nervous, but it was good. She sometimes gets I get car sick really bad, and so does she. And so I was worried about that, but ended up being fine. We did Remy at 10. We got an immediate return time for Soarin' right after that. And so we walked over there. We did Living with the Land. She said that because I don't think she had ever done that before. I think before we went last time, she said she had only been to Epcot like once. They didn't really go when she was younger. But
that's funny because it opened before it was the second park to open.
That's what I said too, because she kept saying, whenever I was like telling her the schedule, she kept saying, well, when are we going to Disney? And I was like, we are at Disney. What are you? She was like, what is the Magic Kingdom, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, that's what it's called. But we're going on Wednesday and Thursday. But so I think she said that she'd only been like once, which is surprise. I was surprised by that too, because I was like, it's only 10 years younger or newer or whatever. It's not like it opened last week. That was a surprise to me as well. But she had never done Living with the Land. She really liked it. I also really like it. But yeah, she was surprised that all that was back there. But we did Soarin' over California with a Lightning Lane. It only had a 15-minute standby at 11-ish. That kind of surprised me. I expected it to be a lot longer. It was longer later in the week, but I was surprised by a 15-minute standby. I really liked that one. It was fun to do something that was similar but new. I don't know how long they're going to keep that, but I was excited to be able to do that while we were there. Also, while we were watching Inside Disney the previous days, they were talking about the sea base. I guess we did not do that. She kept saying stuff like I was keeping it from her. I'm like, it's an aquarium. We didn't come to Disney to go to an aquarium, but we can go. And so we went and we rode Nemo. I was like, if we're going to go, we have to ride Nemo first. So we rode that at 11:30 and then walked around the sea base for probably 30 minutes. We don't have an aquarium anywhere close to us, which that doesn't affect my life, but she really enjoyed that. She loved seeing the manatees and the turtle. We walked around there for a good while. I had never really walked around in there, so it was fun to see all the different stuff that they had. We walked over to the Flavors from Fire booth to get the corned beef nacho type things before we went to Guardians. That might not have been a great decision in retrospect, but it was fine. But I was eating it. I was like, should we be eating this before we go on Guardians? But I think it was fine. We tapped in at Guardians at 12:15. We got I Ran, which I was glad. I think she really likes that song, so that was fun for her. She liked it a lot. She also said it reminded her of Space Mountain, which I would say that one is similar. I was like, it's 2022 Space Mountain. That's how I look at it. But she also thought that I had tricked her on it because it went backwards too. She was like, it's like that other ride and Space Mountain. Everything's like Space Mountain at Disney.
If it's in the dark, it's like Space Mountain. If it goes backwards, it's like Expedition Everest.
I probably would say that too if I didn't have a point of reference, but it was really fun. She really liked that one. After that, we went to Shimmering Sips and got a mimosa flight. We ended up getting several of those over the course of the week. That was one of our favorites. But we shared the filet in Canada and we ate over by the water right there, also by the birds. So free bird show right there. I hate that. I hate that area of the park, but it is what it is.
I feel like there's a lot more birds at Epcot than other parks.
I think so too. And just in those specific areas, it's like in Canada and then in America. I said that in Magic Kingdom too, when we were in Liberty Square later. I was like, why are the birds only over here? They're only
eating nearby water.
Yeah, that makes sense. But in my head, I was like, why are the birds not it? I hate it. We ate by the birds. It was a nightmare, but the food was good. We got the pudding cake and the honey wine in Ireland. The honey wine tasted like medicine, but the pudding cake was really good. Anything with honey, I'm like, that to me sounds medicinal, but that's okay. We did some shopping in the UK, in the tea shop and all the little places in there. I love that little tea shop, even though you can buy Twinings at the grocery store. It's still really fun to go in there and look at all the different stuff. And then we left around 1:45. We went to the pool again and got more Pina Coladas. They were so good. And then got changed and went back to Epcot around 5:20. We did
on the Skyliner.
On the Skyliner, yes. This night was the night that it was starting to get chilly. And it was nice because it had been 85 the previous day. So I think it was probably in the 70s, which is really, I love afternoons and evenings at Disney when it's in the 70s. It's very specific, but it's the most pleasant time to be there. You're not cold, you're not sweating walking around.
Yeah, but to your point, if it gets too much below that, the humidity can make it seem
cold. Yes.
And then if it's above that, the humidity makes it seem extra hot. So the humidity really makes everything so dramatic.
Yeah, it's very extreme. Because mom kept looking at, she was like, it's only this. I'm like, it does not feel like 70. It feels a lot colder than that because it's wet air on me.
Yeah, it's weird.
It was really nice that night. We did all the food and wine things. We went from France and then went through we hadn't gone through the countries through the World Showcase that morning. So we went towards Mexico and we ended at La Cava. That was so good. We went there last time and loved it. We ended up just getting them to go. She got a classic and I got the blood orange. That was really good. It was really hot in the pavilion though. We were going to stop and have guacamole or chips or whatever. And it was noticeably sweltering in the pavilion. I was like, we got to get out of here. But before that, I missed that. We did Frozen at 6:30. She had not done Frozen last time. That we went last time during the small stint where Frozen you had to pay extra for. And I was not willing to do that because Remy had just come out and I was like, I'd much rather pay extra to ride a brand new ride than a 5-year-old ride that is short. So we rode Frozen. She really liked that. That was new and fun. And then we ended up leaving Epcot around 7:45. So this was on Halloween. There were, for some reason, I was surprised that people were in costumes. I don't know why. I just expected that to only be at Magic Kingdom for Mickey's Not So Scary, but people were in full costumes all day on Halloween. Like, props to them. There was actually two girls in La Cava, and one of them was dressed as both of them were the two of the three caballeros. And then they had a sign and it was like looking for Donald. It was the coolest costume ever. It was so cute. But she rocked it. It would not be me.
They were in the right spot with that costume.
Yes, because I was like, I know that character. Like, what? And then she held up the sign. I was like, oh my gosh, that's genius. I would never have come up with that. So we left Epcot around 7:45 and we walked over to the boardwalk just to see what was going on over there. There were all these people like lined up, 100 people deep, and they were trick-or-treating at these little, similar to what they do at Mickey's Not So Scary. They just had a table and this big cauldron of candy and they're just scooping it out for the kids. I was surprised to see that there. So I thought it was just a boardwalk thing. I was like, oh, that's fun that they did that. But then when I got back to Pop, they also were doing that. They had one set up and I was like, that's nice. I didn't know that they did that, but it was fun to walk around and see all the little kids that had all their bags and stuff. I wouldn't have thought to even look for that. We did the little photo booth at the boardwalk. That was fun. And then we just walked around the little shops there. I love looking at all the different resort shops, especially the deluxe ones, because they have so much different stuff. And then we got the Skyliner at 8:30 and we were back to the hotel at 8:45. And we were zonked.
And finally, per your mom's request, you were about to go to Magic Kingdom.
Finally, I was like, we're going to Disney today.
But it does remind, when people ask how to plan their trips, should we start at Magic Kingdom? Should we wait? I always think the kids are going to ask, where's Disney or where's the castle? And your mom was doing that.
We'll learn that. I know that for next time, but because of all the parties, it was hard to plan because I was like,
very hard.
I knew that this day, the last party day, I didn't know how not busy it would be, but I knew it would be the day to go. And I was like, I got it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So yes, finally we make it to the Magic Kingdom. I booked a Jungle Cruise from 8:30 to 9:30 at 7:03. So I woke up and then fell back asleep apparently and dozed off. And I also got a virtual queue group at 7:03. So I was like, something is happening. That's uncommon. I didn't know that was a possibility. I just tried it and it happened. It was group 60. So it wasn't super far out or anything. That tells the tale for the rest
Mm-hmm.
of the day. We were on the bus at 8:10. We walked into Magic Kingdom at 8:30, and it was almost scary empty. And it was also noticeably very cold that morning. It was probably 62 or 63. I did not dress for that weather and I was miserable the whole time, but it was nice because I wasn't sweating, but it was, again, it felt like 40.
It does.
It was really cold.
Can verify.
Yeah. We walked into an empty Magic Kingdom. We went to the Main Street Bakery for breakfast. There was no line. I knew that as soon as we walked in and there was no line for that, I was like, we're good. We don't need any of this.
You probably didn't even have to have Genie Plus this day.
No, of course not. And I had already bought it. So
How much was it? What was like
$25.
so 25? That still sounds like a lot to me.
It is a lot. It was a lot, especially when we didn't need it.
Yeah.
But you live and you learn. I had no, how do you know? You never know. We got Main Street Bakery for breakfast. We walked over to Adventureland for our Jungle Cruise Lightning Lane, and they have that board that has all the wait times and stuff, and it still said Tron Virtual Queue open at 9:00. 9:00. I was shocked. I was
that is unheard of, but good that you picked well.
I picked a good day, but I had no idea it would be like that. I knew it would be less busy, but we were walking through Adventureland and I was like, I almost feel like we're not supposed to be here. Which I love because sometimes you're shoulder to shoulder, but it was eerie. So we did Jungle Cruise. We had maybe a half full boat, which was also eerie. They had a 5-minute standby. We went to Pirates right after that. We also had a 5-minute standby, but I did all these lightning lanes because I bought it, so I'm going to use it even though you don't need it, but it saves walking through a hugely empty queue. We ended up doing Big Thunder Mountain at 9:40, also had a 5-minute standby. And that's when I told Mom, I was like, well, at least we don't have to walk all the way through the queue. We're getting a shortcut. We did Haunted Mansion at 9:55, Peter Pan at 10:13. That had a 40-minute standby. But still, at 10 o'clock in the morning, that's unheard of. We did Small World right after that, and then Winnie the Pooh. When we were walking from Small World to Winnie the Pooh, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train only had a 20-minute wait from what I could see. But then when we got over there, it was like 45. And I was like, still very low.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was like, we don't have a ton of time here this morning, so I don't want to waste 45 minutes in line. So we ended up doing Winnie the Pooh. We did Under the Sea. It had a 10-minute standby. Not really. So we did 8 rides in 2 hours.
Wild.
It was crazy. I was like, this is what people get done all day. It was just, we were on The Little Mermaid and we were the only ones in there. It was really nice because I almost felt like we got the party, that part of the party experience without being at the party. It was really nice. I saw a lot of people in the Facebook group.
I guarantee you it was less crowded for you than the parties.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Especially that last day.
What did you say about the Facebook group?
I said in the Facebook group, there were several people that were posting like, Magic Kingdom it was unheard of. It almost reminded me of the COVID times when we went. Yeah. Anyway, so we did 8 rides in 2 hours. It was fabulous. I was like, okay, so we got everything that we needed to get done today. That was non-negotiables. And so then tomorrow when we come back, we can take it easy. We can do some of the shows. We can relax, watch the parade, things like that. But I was like, at least we've ridden all these rides that we came here for. So I felt really good about that. We got a cream cheese pretzel from the lunching pad on the way out. We caught the Dapper Dans as well. And then we took the monorail to the Contemporary to get the bus to Disney Springs. We met my aunt around 1. Our reservation was at 1:40, so we walked around with her a little bit. She had brought my mom a birthday present, so that was sweet of her. And we just walked in and out of some of the shops around that area. I told her to park in the Lime Garage because I knew that was the closest. And so she was like, it was so easy. I just typed it in on my phone and here I am. And I'm like, that's what I wanted because I did not want to have to be like searching Disney Springs for someone on it in the middle of the day. So that was really nice. We went to Homecoming. I got the thigh high chicken biscuit. That's what I love. I love the appetizer. It's so good. And a sweet tea. I had been in withdrawals for a couple days. And so we got that. Mom got a sandwich and my aunt got a salad. We just had a really nice time. We had a really cool waiter. She took really good care of us. And I love Homecoming. I always have a really good experience there. We walked around and shopped a little bit more. We got the bus at 3:40. The Disney Springs bus, like most of the Disney buses, is probably my least favorite. I don't know why they come so infrequently. We waited probably 45 minutes for a bus. And to the point where I was like, it keeps going, and you're like, do I wait any longer? Or do I walk to get an Uber? We'll wait 5 more minutes. And then you ended up in this predicament. And we ended up waiting for a bus. They actually had sent 2 buses because there were so many people, and we were the ones that we did not get on the first bus, and I did not see the second bus.
Oh.
And I was like, I was ready to go. I was so mad. But it ended up working out fine. We at least got to sit down on that next bus. But I just don't get it. Because then Mom was like, can we walk to another resort bus and see? And I was like, there's no buses. They're just all sitting around. I don't know how their logistics works, but it really stresses me out, the Disney bus system. But it is what it is. That's why the next time we went, we Ubered. It was just.
And the Uber drop-off pickup are on the ends of Disney Springs.
Yeah.
So
if
you
have
decide
to make that commitment.
Yeah. So if you leave, you're committing to a walk and then paying for the car. And it's 45 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time. We got back to the hotel. We headed to Epcot right after. We tapped in at Epcot around 5:15, 5:30. We got a Remy Lightning Lane again. Mom loved that ride. That was the only ride that we rode twice last time, and so we rode it again. It was a much busier Epcot than Magic Kingdom. We got spoiled that morning. The Lightning Lane was backed up for Remy outside, which is never a great sign, but it was still a much better wait than the 55-minute standby wait. But I did notice, I had not noticed it before, right next to the Lightning Lane line, there's another passageway kind of situation, and it had a sign for single riders. And I know that the one in Paris has a single rider line, and so I don't know if that's always been there and then I've never noticed it, or if they're preparing for that. I thought that was odd.
They built the new rides to have it. Flight of Passage has it, and Remy's has it, but they haven't used it.
Okay.
So they're just prepared.
Okay. Because I was like, I've never seen that before. I also don't really pay attention, but it was backed up. So I was like, it was odd to me, especially for a ride like that. But if they use it, that would be fabulous. We went to the France booth. Didn't love the food. Glad we didn't wait in line for it. We had a lot of really good food the day before. We never got food that we hated, but if there was one that was close, it would have been that one, which was disappointing because normally I love the food in France.
I like it more during Flower and Garden.
Yeah, I do too. There's something about it that it was really heavy, and it was just whatever. We ended up leaving Epcot around 7:30. We had gotten to the fork in the road where I was like, we can either go and do the front side of Epcot. She had no idea that there was something inside of Spaceship Earth. She was like, it's just a ball, right? And I was like, where have you been? What are you talking about? And we talked about going up there, and then we talked about going to Soarin' and maybe doing the Moana. But the fork in the road ended up taking us back to the Skyliner at 7:30. That was the day. So that was Wednesday. There were a lot of runners coming in for the marathon that weekend. And so we had a really nice lady on the Skyliner with us. She was a solo runner. She was staying at Pop, and we had a really nice conversation with her. I've gone solo a couple of times, and I love solo people because they just talk to anybody. It's so fun. So
yeah, the recent trip report with the solo traveler.
I know. And I was listening to it. And I was like, I was not like that when I was solo. I'm like more introverted when I am solo. And I was like, man, if I go again by myself, I'm going to have to also be taking shots with people at La Cava. That was not my experience, but it's also not my personality. But
I feel like if you're at the lounges or bars, it lends itself to that. But I also think the Skyliner lends itself to that.
Yeah,
because you're just trapped with him for a while.
Yes, for sure. That was a fun day. I was glad Mom was really excited to see my aunt. I was really excited to see her.
And you had a great Magic Kingdom morning.
Yes, that Magic Kingdom morning was probably the best. That was my favorite part of the trip, just because we got so much done, and there was like no pressure for the rest of the whole trip. We got everything that we wanted done, and then it was like everything else is gravy. It was great.
But speaking of that, the next day was Magic Kingdom, and you were hoping for a change in decorations.
Yes, Magic Kingdom was a very different story on Thursday, as you probably well know. We left prop around 9. We canceled the Steakhouse 71 reservation. We were just loosey-goosey on this trip. We left around 9:20. We got to Magic Kingdom around 9:20, and the Christmas decor was up. Everything, I think, but the tree, which is fine. But we were talking about it the day before when there was still Halloween decoration stuff, and I was like, makes sense. It is easier to take a wreath down and put one back up than to take everything down and then 3 days later come back and put stuff up. That I was like, that's what I did here. My Christmas stuff. So it makes more sense. But it was fun. There were Mickey wreaths and the garland on the train station. And it was just so festive. No tree though, but that's okay. We met Mickey when we came in. We got some castle pictures. I had gotten the Lightning Lane to meet Mickey. We went to Gaston's Tavern for breakfast. We waited about 15 minutes for that. That line is always so long, and I always end up in the wrong one. When you go in, there's 3 different ones that you can go in, and people that were right in front of me were leaving and having their food, and I was like, I don't know how I got stuck in the bad line, but here I am. But there were tables everywhere in there that were empty, and that surprised me. I've never been able to sit in there with a table, and so the line did not reflect that, but it was nice. We did PhilharMagic at 10:30. Mom loved that. She had never done that before. So that was fun and new. I also love PhilharMagic. And then we did the Liberty Bell after that. We had also never done that before. That was fun. We got on right when it opened. I think it opens at 11. Yeah. And that was fun. It is long. It was a lot longer than I expected. I was like, oh, this is a time commitment. But it was cool because when we were going around, there was like a big heron that I guess lives on one of the islands over there, and it was following the boat. So it would like land and then it would fly with the boat while we were moving. It was fun to watch. I was like, I love the wildlife, except for if it got too close, I would not like that at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you have a change of heart about the birds?
From afar, it was cool. But if that thing had gotten, I was on the side of it. I was like, what if that thing flew up here? Thank God it didn't. We did that. We went to the Christmas shop to look at the ornaments. I was on the lookout for a friend for a baby's first Christmas. They're sold out. I didn't, which is crazy to me, but they were sold out of baby's first Christmas ornaments. So we'll have to look for that again.
You know what? I feel like they've been saying that for years.
I think so too.
If anyone has successfully gotten one of these, please let me know. But my daughter had a baby 2 years ago. I did the same thing. I was like, let me go get a baby's first Christmas. And I went there and I went to the one at Disney Springs and I sold out. I'm like, how?
That would be the one of all these crazy ornaments that very niche and very interesting ornaments that they have. I'm like, that would be the one that I would keep in stock. That's the one people go for. I got specific requests from friends. Can you find this ornament? And then they were like, we can write it on there for you. And I'm like, that doesn't give the same thing. Better like next time. I'm like, I would love to know if people can get them still. I don't know if they're sold out or if they just don't make them.
Yeah, they just maybe repeating the same line for years.
I guess. I know. We did that. We walked by Liberty Tree Tavern on our way out, and Mom was like, that place looks good. What do they have there? I was like, it's Thanksgiving there. And she was like, sold. And we got a 6:15 reservation, but I had to get it for 6 people, which I think is crazy. But it's what I did because it was
okay, wait. Talk me through this. Okay.
Okay.
There's 2 of you.
So there's
And you
two,
searched for two and just said no.
and it was like, would you like to come at 1 p.m. or 9:30? And I was like, neither. I want to come between the hours of 5 and 7. I'm not picky. And so I was like, okay, because I have a family of 3 at home. So when I make reservations for us, I have to look for 4. It's just, I don't know why the system is like that. And so I was like, okay, let me look for 4. That's another even number. Same thing. And I was like, my gosh, they were calling out the door. We have reservations open. Come eat today. And I'm like, these are not correlating properly. And so I was like, all right, let's look for 6. And it was like 100 reservations pull up. And I'm like, sign me in. I don't know. And mom was like, can you do that? And I'm like, you can, but you shouldn't. But I'm going to do it today because I want to eat there. And then they set a table for 2. It made no sense.
That is very funny. I don't know if I would have thought to try 6 for a party of 2.
It was a Hail Mary. But
You're like, my mom wants in. I need to try.
Like for Liberty Tree Tavern, they had reservations for Ohana instead of Liberty Tree Tavern. It made no sense, but whatever. So we got the reservation for 6 people for 6:15 at Liberty Tree Tavern. We went to the Country Bears at 11:40. That was, I like it, but I don't like it being from a southern state, which I feel like gets not mocked, but it's very excessive. I'm like, I could come home and get this. Very similar. But some of the songs, I was just like, I understand the refurb. It's a little bit, it's cringy.
But also, I'm surprised this has survived to 2023.
I can't eat the test of time. That, and then I love the Tiki Birds, the Tiki Room. Mom specifically requested, can we not do that Tiki Room thing that you made me go to last time? I was like, of all things, but we can go to the Country Bears. I remember doing that as a kid, and obviously it was a lot longer then, but I don't remember those lyrics, thankfully.
You didn't understand. You didn't understand, though.
I still don't. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we talking about? Blood on the Saddle. What in the world? Anyways, we did that. We did Big Thunder at 12. And then I got a buzz for 12:55. We never ended up doing that though. After we got on Big Thunder, we went and got Mickey bars from the little cart out there and water. That was the one birthday surprise. I made mom wear her button the whole time. She got a free Mickey bar at the Mickey bar station. And I was like, 4 days later, and it's finally paid off. I was glad. The lady was so nice. It's cast member specific, obviously, but I didn't expect anything. And so then the last day I was like, oh, great. I'll take a free Mickey bar. They're $6. But that was a fun little birthday treat. We did that. We ate that over by the construction site of Tiana's in the shade. And then we rode the train to Fantasyland. We walked from Fantasyland over to the People Mover. And we walked obviously under Tron, which I think I did have a virtual queue that day as well, but we walked under it and she was like, absolutely not. And I was like, okay, it doesn't hurt my feelings because I don't really want to pay $22 for it right now or stand in an hour and a half long virtual queue for it after we've no lines all week.
The day before you had a virtual queue for it, but did you leave before your group was called?
Yes. So okay. I think it was group 60. It probably got called as we were leaving. I think we left around noon. So I think it got called as we were leaving or maybe a little bit before, but we didn't have time. I was like, it's hard to judge because you could be in a line for 15 minutes or an hour. And I'm like, I need to know what my time commitment is for this. But we didn't end up riding Tron. But that's okay. I don't think she wasn't really keen on it anyways. We did the People Mover. It had a 15-minute wait. That was fine. And then we ended up doing the Carousel of Progress at 1:15. I guess the day before I had seen on Facebook that like one of the animatronics hands had fallen off. during the Carousel of Progress. And so I was hoping for a little bit of something like that, but alas, did not happen. I was like, let's spice it up in the Carousel of Progress. It's always Christmas in here, but I'd love to see a hand fall off or something. That'd be fun. And then let's see, we got another pretzel at the lunching pad. Those are so good. They were my favorites. Pretzel and Diet Coke break. And then we went to Pirate. We had a lightning lane for Pirates, but it went down as we were about to scan in. I had a multiple experience pass, which is dangerous for me because it becomes a game for me. We went over to the Hall of Presidents because Pirates was down. So we waited a little bit for that, did the Hall of Presidents. I usually steer clear of the Hall of Presidents, mostly because it's a huge time commitment and people act a fool in there.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been in there in the last 2 years where there has not been hooting and hollering. And there was silence through when they were introducing themselves, the former and the new. And I was so proud. I just want to be like, thank you all. I'm so proud of everyone in this theater for not acting ridiculous. I genuinely, because it makes me so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And why? They're animatronic. They can't hear you.
Really? You're making a statement in the Hall of Presidents? There's 10 people in here. Come on. I was so thankful because I hate going in there because I'm always so concerned about what the vibe is going to be.
They had guards there at one time too.
I get it. Because people act ridiculous. I was so glad. In that time that we were in the Hall of Presidents, I had rebooked a Pirates while it was down, knowing that I was going to get another multiple. It becomes a game. It's hard because
this is what you mean by the game.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's down, and then it was like immediate return time. I'm like, okay, if you're going to give it to me, I'll take it. And now we have 2. We waited in the shade for the parade underneath the little covering where the Hall of Presidents is. There's a walkway. It was the perfect spot for the parade because it's where they turn. And the parade was at 3:00. I did not do my research well enough to know that it was only at 3:00 prior to this trip. I've always known it as 12 and 3. And so it's a surprise normally to me when I walk in at 3 and it's going on. But I missed the 12:00 parade because I'm like, I don't want to leave until we see the parade, but I don't know. So we were like, we'll just leave after the parade and then come back later. That went out the window. We did the Festival of Fantasy at 3. It was missing at least one float that I could tell, maybe 2 or 3. It felt very short. It was like Maleficent and then Mickey. And I was like,
it was a cavalcade.
It felt like it. It really did. And I don't really know why. Who's to say? But I was like, there's several people missing out of this parade. But if you don't know it, you don't know it. So Mom was like, this is the best parade I've ever seen. I'm like, you were right, but it's short. But it was good. She was thrilled to see Maleficent. That was so cool to her, the fire and everything. So that was fun to see. And then we followed the parade basically out and took the monorail to the Poly. So instead of taking my beloved midday break, which we should have done in retrospect, but the parade messed us up, we took a monorail to the Poly and went to Tambu Lounge for a couple cocktails. And that was our downtime after sitting in the Hall of Presidents for an hour. But we love Tambu Lounge. We got Bahama Mamas and Mai Tais. Before we went to Tambu Lounge, I had gone down just to see what the vibe at Trader Sam's was like. And the people outside the door were like, they just told the last people that came 4 hours. And I was like, I'm good. I can catch them next time. I know it's competitive, but I was like, I'll just see. 4 hours, not into it. We went to Tambu Lounge. It was great. We had 2 rounds of drinks. And then in this time, I guess I had gotten another multiple experience pass. This is a theme, and I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. They keep going down and they keep turning them out. What am I supposed to do? Just let it sit there? And we ended up having 6. I'm not proud of it, okay? But it's
But I'm fascinated though. The ride is down and then it comes back up and then you get one and then it goes down again. That just shows you how much it breaks down.
yeah, and it was several of them. So then I was like, so Pirates kept doing it, and then I was like, well, like we're not there. It would be different if we were in the park and we were actively trying to do stuff. But I was like, I ain't got anything else to do. I'm just sitting here. So I'm like, okay, what's down? Can I get one for right now? Yes. And I'm like, okay, that's silly. That's don't let them churn out at the time if you don't want me to get them. Whatever. So we took the monorail from the Poly and went to the Grand Floridian to see the gingerbread house progress. And it was almost done. That was around 4:45. That was really fun to see. I've seen it before fully built, but it was so cool to see them up there on a scissor lift building this gingerbread house, and they were giving out samples, and it was so nice. And then they started the piano player had just started when we got there. It was just the perfect little sprinkle of Christmas that I wanted the day after Halloween. It was like, okay, it's time. It's Christmas when I get home now. And then I guess in that time I had booked a Haunted Mansion for 7:20. I think we ended up actually using that one. We were back on the monorail at 5:30. When we came in, the Adventure Cavalcade was on the way out. We saw the end of it leaving. That was nice. I loved the Cavalcade era when we didn't know they were coming because it was such a surprise. And now I'm like, I don't want to, am I supposed to camp out for a Cavalcade? But it was fun. There were a lot of characters on there that I had not seen before. Bruno and I think Raya was on it as well. And so that was fun to see the different characters.
Great for characters.
Yeah. I swear there were more characters in that cavalcade than there were in Festival of Fantasy 2 hours ago. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so then we went to Liberty Tree Tavern. I think our reservation was at 6:15. Yeah, for 6 people. And then we ended up getting there at 6. And they sat us right away at a two top. We sat in the Benjamin Franklin room. I don't know. I didn't know there were multiple rooms in there, but that was fun. And I had never eaten there before. And so it was so good. We hadn't eaten a full meal that day. We had the cinnamon roll, a pretzel, and a Mickey bar. So that is not full. That's not food really. And so it was so nice to have something warm when it was chilly outside and like a lot of food. We both really enjoyed that. I know it's not for everybody, but it was, especially this time of year, I could not imagine eating that in July. Ooh. That's just so much food, but this is the perfect time of year for something like that. We did Haunted Mansion with one of the many multiple experience passes. Mom was fading after Liberty Tree Tavern because I was like, we got to make it to fireworks. That's why we're still here. We would have gone back long ago. And she was like, do you want to wait till fireworks? And I was like, yes, I don't care, but like, you're going to be irritated when we get back and you're like, we didn't get to see the fireworks. And so I was like, you just got to power through. Like, it's in an hour. It's okay. Like, we can make it. And I was like sitting there with literally 6 multiple experience passes thinking like, oh man, we're going to have the best time. And I'm like, you can't tap out on me yet. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Got to use them.
I've got to at least get some of this. So we rode Haunted Mansion and Big Thunder Mountain with the multiple experience passes. And then the other ones just faded away, but it's part of the game. We went to the fireworks viewing on Main Street. It's not an ideal spot, obviously, crowd-wise, but we could see the castle, like, perfectly. And then people are people. And, like, they put their 10-year-old kid on their 6'2" shoulders. And I'm like, why? I literally wrote on here, I said, people ruin fireworks, period. And I hate that because I've obviously seen them. Mom hadn't seen Happily Ever After before. But she's seen fire. I was like, if this was my one trip and like your whole body is like, it's just, and they're like talking through that. I'm just like, let's have a little bit of common courtesy. That is out the window apparently now. Mm-hmm. In the world. It was a little bit eye-opening. This day especially was like eye-opening, and we go often, but I was like, man, this trip has really, I was like, people just have bad behavior. And I don't like it. I
It's
hate it.
everywhere.
I
Broadway
hate it.
shows,
I
it's everywhere.
know. And I'm like, pick your spot and keep it. And then just watch it. And just be
And
like a normal
don't talk.
person. Like, why we don't have to chat. We can chat after. It's 15 minutes. Like, what are you
And,
chatting about?
and stop filming it with your iPad.
Oh my, and arms overhead with
Hmm.
your phone. I'm like, you're never gonna watch that. I promise. I've never watched any video that I've taken. I hate it. And there's nothing anyone can do about it, but I hate that it ruins it for people who that's their one time to see it.
I do
Anything
speak
like
up.
that.
I do speak up though,
Well, you're a
sometimes.
better person than me because I just huff and puff and I'm like, I hate everyone.
No, I'll say if it's a kid on the shoulder, I'll be like, put him at your eye level. If you can see, they can see.
I'm like,
Or
you're 6'2". If you can't see, then I don't know what to tell you.
sometimes they give their kids in a stroller their phone and they'll have the light on for whatever reason. And I'm like, you can't, please don't shine that on me. It's a lot going on when we're just trying to watch fireworks.
There, and I'm like, you're not. That was the thing at Fantasmic. I'm like, people were trying to film it, and their phone was on like 100% brightness, and I was like, it's dark in here. What are you? I don't get it, but behavior is terrible. But anyway, so we left after the fireworks. I was having a bad moment, but it's okay. The one good thing about a Disney bus system after fireworks. That is the one time I enjoy taking a Disney bus if I can sit down normally. Is right after fireworks. So they bring 20 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time that you're like, you're going to get a bus as soon as you walk by. Disney bus behavior is also tragic, but that's a whole other story that I won't get into. It's just part of it. It's part of being in a place like that. So that was our Thursday. It was our last park day. It was a really good day. I was glad that we had done so much the day before, so there was no pressure. If the days had been switched, I would have been a little bit more stressing about, oh my gosh, because the lightning lanes were a little bit farther out and stuff kept going down. So it would have worked in my favor anyways, but it wasn't. We could do the shows and we could do the Liberty Bell that takes what felt like 45 minutes. And we could truly enjoy just being there instead of running to different things because we have to get it done. We had a really good day. I was zonked after that day. We go fairly often, but this trip really took it out of me. I don't know if it's the time of year or what.
That was your last park day, though.
That was our last park day. We were tired, but I was glad to have 2 days on either side we didn't leave a park and immediately go to the airport. That stresses me out, but I do it to myself almost every time. And I was glad to have a full day the next day. So the next day was Friday, November 3rd. We got to Disney Springs around 10:30. We just got up and packed and just like leisurely left the resort. The Gideon's line, I did want to get Gideon's because I wanted to bring him home. The Gideon's line was all the way out around the corner to Chef Arts.
And no virtual queue.
And no virtual queue. At 10:30. And I was like, oh, maybe they open at 11. These people are just standing here. No, they were open. I don't know what time. I guess they open at 10 or 9 even because they have breakfasty cookies, I guess. I was like, I love Gideon's, but I do not love it enough to wait. Like, that's not going to be our longest wait this week. I just can't. I cannot do it.
That was reserved for Starbucks.
Never again. We went to the Polite Pig for lunch. I had never been there. I'd always heard really good things. It was so good. And I'm not I like barbecue because it's everywhere in Tennessee, but it was the best barbecue I've had. And they had the best service. And I didn't really understand. It almost is like their model is strange to me that like you order at the counter and then they bring it to you and then you have a waiter. And so when they ask you like tip at the counter, which like every Starbucks asked me to tip after I had waited 85 years in the line on that previous Sunday. And I was like, I'll tip you, but I don't really want to. It stresses me out. Tipping culture stresses me out. And so they were like, you won't have to get up again. And so I felt bad. I tipped not enough. And I realized it after.
Because you didn't know what
I
they were
didn't
going to
know.
do.
I'm like, I didn't know that I was actually going to have a waitress. And thankfully I had some cash and gave it to her when we left. But they do, if you're going to go, they wait on you hand and foot after you sit down. She was at our table every 4 minutes. Drinks, sauce. Do you want to order anything else? Dessert, anything. They do a really good. There were more employees in that Polite Pig than I have seen anywhere in the last couple of years. I don't know. They obviously do something right by their employees because there were more. I've never seen so many employees in a restaurant before, especially in these times. It was like there was an employee for every family that was in there, which I loved. I loved to see that, but it was confusing all at the same time. So we left there. We went over to the Christmas shop because I was trying again and failed again to find a baby's first Christmas ornament for two of my friends that have both had babies this year. And I was like, do I get just like a Mickey one and have it written? They're like, no, like I want the real deal if we're going to do it. And I was like, okay, well, it might be 5 years from now, but we'll get it together. And I got a Christmas ornament and mom got one that were already written on. So we did not have to wait. That was nice. And then we went to World of Disney. She got a shirt that she had been eyeing every day that week. Thankfully they had it still there and still in her size because I was like stressed every time she was like, I'll just see. And I'm like, they might not have it again. Like it's now or never sometimes. So thankfully it was like a classic, whatever they keep all the time. And we got that. And then we just walked around Disney. We had plenty of time at Disney Springs. We went to the Ghirardelli chocolate fountain, I guess is soda fountain, I guess is what they call it, and got a milkshake. That was special request from the first day. When we got to Disney Springs, she was like, can we go to the Ghirardelli store? And I was like, sure. That feels like a tourist trap to me, but if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But again, like her and my dad used to live all different places, but they lived in San Francisco at a time. And so she remembers that from living in San Francisco. So that was fun. We went and shared a milkshake. And my husband and I actually went to San Francisco on our honeymoon. And so that was fun because I was like, oh, I've not been back to a Ghirardelli since then because there's not a ton. I didn't really think about it, but I feel like if it's at Disney Springs, it's like they have them everywhere. I don't know why I feel that way because there's a Rainforest Cafe there. We have one at our mall in Nashville, which not everyone does, but that doesn't feel like special to me. But then I was like, oh, this is special because it's special to you and it's special to me. And so it's fun that it's here. So we got a milkshake. That was amazing. And very expensive, in case you were wondering. But it was good. The lady at Polite Pig had told us when she asked us if we wanted dessert. I was like, no, we are reserving that for the Ghirardelli store. And she's, oh, I don't blame you. I would totally do that too. So I'm like, okay. We left Disney Springs around 2:30. We got an Uber because we were on that side. I had seen a mug that I wanted at the Christmas shop and did not buy it. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to not think about it. I never buy souvenirs really anymore. And so I was like, I have to have that mug because it's not going to be here next time. I know that for a fact.
And Uber's right behind it.
And Uber's right behind it. So I was like, we're just going to go there and then we're going to go get our Uber and it's going to be fabulous. After the Uber experience, 2 days before, I was like, or the bus experience, I was like, we are Ubering back to our hotel because if we miss not that we would miss our flight, but I was like, if we're late because of the freaking bus, I'm going to be so mad. But so we Ubered. It was wonderful. We got a really nice Uber driver. It was like an anomaly. Like it was a really nice car for it to be just the classic Uber. And it smelled really nice in there. And he was really nice. And so as soon as we got in, mom was like, could we? And I was like, I got it. I'll take care of it. I'll ask. I know exactly what you're about to say. So like we were turning into Pop and I was like, we're actually like about to go to the airport. Can you just take us? He was like, for sure. And showed me how to do it on the app. And so that was wonderful. He waited on it. He was like, I'll wait for you as long as you need me to. And so we went and got our bags from Bell Services and he took us right to the airport. He was super nice. again with the TSA pre-check. If it was anyone except for my mom, I would have left them. I've traveled with my dad and my aunt, and they're very self-sufficient. My mom is not a frequent traveler, and she's also a very nervous traveler. So I would never even think to leave her in airport security, because then I would be more stressed out than she would be. And we waited over an hour in line. And I was like, of course, I was standing there, and the longer because it just kept going. Once they look at your stuff and they're like, your TSA pre-check, do you know that? I'm like, yeah, I know. This is a sacrifice. And so it just kept winding. And I was like, oh, I have to take off my shoes too. I didn't know that was still a thing. And I was like, that was also a weak moment for me. And I was like, all these people that used to be in TSA pre-check are like having a beverage over Europe, already on their airplane flying away.
Gift idea for your mom.
That's what I said, because then we were like halfway through and she's, I don't travel enough to have that. And then I was like, okay, but it's not that expensive for a long time. And we were like halfway through and she said, how much is it? And like, how long does it last? And I was like, you're getting it. Because if we're going to do this again, we can't be doing this. This is
especially in Orlando.
I said, we got it specifically for this airport.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville has so many lanes. It's not even really an issue except for the drug dog, which whatever. But this, I was like, the Orlando security it's very stressful for me. We waited an hour and a half, 8-hour and 15 minutes in security. That was fine. We flew Southwest there and back. And I've flown Southwest countless times out of MCO. And it's always in the same terminal. Always that it's like 120 through 150 or something. Okay, our gate number was 92.
Never done that before, and I fly Southwest too.
I was like, that's not right. It can't be right. I was like, they don't have Southwest over there. That is not the Southwest terminal. And sure enough, on the board it said 92, and I was like, it was like us and Air Canada and Air Mexico. And we were at this gate that was not a Southwest gate. It was just an anybody gate at the time. And everybody on that flight looked as confused as we were, because I sat down and I was like, this is not right. Like, where's the Starbucks over here? This is not the experience that I've ever had. It was this side over there with the Outback and like all the international flights. It was very confusing.
That's funny, because when you come in and out on the same airline, every time you get in a routine. I know where the pizza is. I know where the bathrooms are. I know where Starbucks is.
Yes, I know what I'm going to eat over here. I'm ready. And I got over there and I was like, what is happening over here? I don't know. My husband and I have ventured over there because he wanted to look in the duty free for something. I don't know. And I was like, oh, it's fun over here. There's an Outback. There's all these things. But I was like, this is not my side of the airport. I don't like it. And so they didn't even have the columns that you wait next to. And so they were just like, just get in the line, just free for all.
Yeah, and you're talking about the columns that are specific to Southwest that have the numbers.
Yes.
Like 1 through 30, 31.
Yeah, they were just lined up. We're just going to do 30 at a time. And I was like, this just feels barbaric. And so then we scanned our tickets on a thing, it looked like self-checkout to me. So you like scan it and then these like little doors open. I was like, this is not what I'm used to. After the long security line, I'm like, we're in the wrong place. Surely they're going to tell us like, oh, we've changed it back to the normal side. No, we just hung out over there. That was an interesting tidbit to that. And there were also 40 open seats on that flight too.
Clearly not the busiest time of year to travel.
And I was surprised because we flew in on a Sunday and flew out on a Friday. Those are not busy days. It wasn't like it was a Monday or a Tuesday. And we had a middle seat on both flights, which was wonderful. And I do not anticipate that happening again, but it was a really nice surprise. Yeah. We had a good time.
Good. Overall, sounds like good trip.
Yes.
Decent weather, decent crowds.
We had great weather. I can do really any weather except for rain. I can do 110 if it's not raining or 30 if it's not raining, but being in Orlando. Normally it does rain. And so that I was like, thank goodness, like we didn't have anything like that. We didn't have to leave because it was raining. We weren't soaking wet walking around. And it was just, we had the best weather that I've ever had there. So it was really nice.
As a frequent traveler, when's your next trip to Disney?
It's funny because after the fireworks incident and I was just irritated with people, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to renew my annual pass. I was just, am I over it? Maybe. And then we were walking back to our hotel from the bus that same night, and a friend texted me and she was like, do you want to go to Disney in January with me and my kids? And I was like, twisting my arm. I don't know. What am I supposed to say? No. I don't know. That might pan out. That would be fun. I love traveling with different parties, which is a very privileged thing to say. And I'm very aware of that. But I love going with people and being able, like my mom, to be a tour guide. And she loves my useless knowledge, which is what I would say that it is. Husband and stepdaughter, they're like, we've heard it before. You ain't got to tell us. And it's always, I love being able to show it to people. It almost feels like I'm like showing someone a piece of it's showing someone a piece of what I love. And so it would be fun if that panned out. But I don't know. We usually do go the last week of the year, which is crazy and chaotic as well. But that's our anniversary and usually our birthday present, or my husband's birthday present, and like our Christmas present, just to like the family. That's normally what we do. I don't know if that'll pan out. We're cutting it close, but I don't know. So maybe January, maybe spring break, but I just love going. I love going and seeing it through other people's eyes, especially like someone like my mom, who she was so excited to see everything. And we were on the bus to Animal Kingdom the first day, and she was like, I love you're still, it's like you've never been before. You're still so excited. I'm like, okay, that's what I want, because when I'm not excited, then I'm like, then I know it's time to be done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're still in it.
I'm still in it. I'm still excited every time I see the castle and Epcot and all the things. It's like the first time every time, except I know what I'm doing now. So
yep. Good. It sounds like you did well with your mom, and hopefully you'll get to go again in a couple months.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Savannah.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy that conversation. As is often the case these days, we do have an after chat that is posted on Patreon in both video and audio form, where Savannah and I chatted a little bit more after we stopped recording for the main feed about things that I wanted to ask or comment on, but I didn't want to take the time for the main trip report, as they can already be quite long on their own. So feel free to go and check that out there if you're a patron, or become a patron if you are not already one. Also, a reminder that the written version of every episode, including the trip reports, is on the website. It has links to everything. It has photos that are inserted. It is written up like an article so that it is readable, even if people are not listening to the audio. And that might be helpful if you want to see pictures or go back and reference it later. You don't have to sit and listen to the whole episode if you don't want to. And that can be found on the website when you click on podcast at the top and scroll down to the episode. And with that, I think that will wrap up this episode. For more information, you can check the show notes in your podcast app, or go to the website, wdwprepschool.com, click on podcast at the top, scroll down to episode 384. Until next time, I will see you on the site.